Three, two, one. Hello and welcome to the Morningscape podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell to cover the Tuesday NHL slate. DJ, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Final week before finals, so my last week of classes. So this week definitely have some time. Classes are kind of winding down, just starting to get a little studying going. Next week will be a little bit more tricky for me. I wouldn't expect pods for Tuesday or Wednesday next week because those are like my two big finals that I'm gonna be cramming for, unless if Doug can jump on. Um, there's a chance that maybe I can try to find a time to take a break, but if I'm really stressed, it'll be tough. So enjoy me while you have me,
Yeah,
and then I'll be home for
uh,
good.
I will be utilizing the waiver wire to see if we can pick someone else up for those days, but obviously we can deal with that when we get there. Um, Other than that, anything exciting from your weekend or anything like that, or should we just go right into the hockey talk?
Nothing probably anyone cares about. I
All
watched the
right.
Sabres get murdered. I guess that would be something someone might care about. Yeah, a lot of drunk Pittsburgh fans around me, and I really tried hard not to say anything. But this one guy just kept like talking about how miserable Sabres fans were, and I was about to say something, and I was like, "It's kind of right." So I didn't say anything.
I mean, yeah, he pretty
It
much
was
had the mood of the room right there.
it was just more that he was so drunk and just so trying to piss people off that I was like, what, I'm not going to feed into this. Like, I'm just going to let him do his thing and go home. There's like nine guys with him too, and I'm like, yeah, this is bad. Like, I'll just not say anything. But it was just annoying. It's like, don't be that guy. Like, you're up with it it's 4-0. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't even know how I would react in like a front runner situation. Like I've literally
no.
never been there in my life, so
I
interesting.
mean, yeah, no, both of us in both of the sports we probably care about most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how to watch a draft and watch first picks. Like I'm
Yeah,
really
no,
good
that,
at watching
that.
very, very like early draft picks. But other than that,
Speaking of the draft lottery, whew, boy, that should be a
Colleen.
fun one. He is so good.
Oh my God. Did you see the highlight reel that I retweeted today?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Oh my God. Like
All
he's
right.
so okay. Oh, that'll be for like 2 years from now when he's just like 9K at
We'll
defense.
we'll do a podcast after I spend a week watching the World Juniors, and we can just gush over everything that we saw in the World Juniors.
Yes.
So for now, let's just go to the 10-game Tuesday slate. The games we're looking at are New Jersey at Columbus, the Rangers at Pittsburgh, St. Louis at Montreal, Winnipeg at Detroit, Islanders on a back-to-back at Tampa, Nashville on a back-to-back at Dallas, Buffalo at Colorado,
Ooh.
Carol- yeah, boo, Carolina at Vancouver, Anaheim at Vegas, and Minnesota at LA. So there is one 7 o'clock game. So hence this is a 7 o'clock start. But we start with New Jersey at Columbus. Any news or notes here from the weekend that you care to point out?
Johansson was back. He was on line two. I retweeted their lines, so I'm gonna pull them up. They were line one, Hall, Shear, Bratt. Line two, Johansson, Zajac, Stafford, and I don't really think line three or four are worth mentioning. I guess the big note was that Zaka was replaced by Johansson, and Zaka was on the extras unit, I guess, for their December 4th practice. Therefore, he'll probably be out. I think again, I don't think did he play last game? I don't think he played last game. I can pull it back up.
Zaka?
He didn't play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he
just
was. Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say that's a repeat thing. I kind of was making it seem like it was breaking news, but it was not. Uh, other than that, the power play unit, Johansson was with Heishier, Stafford, Severson, and Vatanen.
So yeah, play
So
number
like
two.
Heishier, yeah, that's two. I'm just saying like Heishier doesn't correlate with Hall as well as
Right.
it might look. So if you're looking
Yeah.
Hall, it might be like Hall Brat, which is not something I'm trying to go after too much because I really think in this
No.
game you're going to want the other side of the home team in Columbus to light that cannon.
Yeah, sadly, if you missed out on the Josh Anderson week, now is not the time to jump aboard. He is up at 5,400. So while I think he's still a fine play because his shot his shot rate has been awesome lately. I think he has 8 points in 6 games or something like that.
Well,
In addition to 4 shots.
over the last 5 games, he's third in the NHL as far as like shots attempts. Taking like 5 games into account. I mean,
Right.
Chychrun technically would be 2, but he only played 1 game and had 8 shot attempts. So like, that's unfair to assume. But yeah, he has 7.2 per game over 5 games. So like, what, 36 or 7? 37? 36.
But yeah, the point is he is shooting the puck. That line of Dubois, Anderson, Panarin is really just awesome right now. So in this matchup, I think it's a really, really good spot for them. But it's really tough for me to like kind of rationalize it looking further into the numbers here, because Columbus has such a hard time generating power plays, and then on the power plays they are absolutely atrocious. So
yeah, they've really come down from last year.
Yeah, like it's really tough on like a huge slate to say like, all right, this line that's now much more expensive than they were, like their 5-on-5 production alone is going to get them there. Like, I just don't see how you can make that case. Pierre-Luc Dubois is now 4,000 as well. Like, he's not a punt anymore. So there's definitely some value left here, but it's really tough to kind of like, if you haven't been playing them, if like you're kind of iffy on them, like now is not the time to jump on. I think really like this is like, I feel really strongly about this line, this team being like one of the best on the slate, and that's the only reason I would want to play it. Artemi Panarin had a big game. On Friday night?
Mm-hmm.
He had 3 points, and then on Saturday put up a goal, 4 shots in both of those games. It's nice to see. His price is still very reasonable. But I'm not really sure who I would go to in cash now because Anderson and Panarin are so close. DJ, you have any thoughts on that? Like riding this Anderson hot streak, or maybe going with the more established guy, Panarin?
I think in cash, I would definitely look at Werenski and Jones as a viable option. I don't know which one I decide on because it does feel like both of them have been solid. Neither of them put up big numbers. I really like Cam Atkinson a lot too. He just is like not gotten luck. I mean, 4 straight games without a point, and I don't think that's his fault. I mean, this other lines have been finishing, and his line is not. I could really see a line change coming for them. The lines you see last game, I don't think will be the lines we see next game exactly. So I think, and another thing that affects Atkinson is they didn't get a single power play in last game. So, and it's the power play has been working. So maybe they'll change it up, but he'll definitely be a part of it. I just think he's too cheap for his skill. Like just because he's not producing on the score sheet doesn't mean he's like not going to get the minutes he needs and all that stuff. I don't think he's a cash option, but I'm definitely considering him tomorrow because I think a lot of people will be off of him and pay up for Panarin. So I think he'll go really underowned.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I think all these guys are like fine plays. I just don't think I'm really going all out to get one or the other. Like, we've seen how quickly Port can change his mind on something. Yeah. And so even while like Sanderson, Panarin, Dubois line is easily my top, like given this team, I just don't think I'm that. I don't think I'm that interested in general. So I do agree with you that the 2D are pretty strong plays. Anything else?
No, I was just gonna say that I really think Seth Jones could be like a very strong cash play tomorrow. I mean, I think this guy could reasonably see like 28 minutes tomorrow if they can get some power play time. And New Jersey, I don't think I have any numbers. I don't have any numbers up right now, but about their penalty kill, but it just doesn't feel like it's been that strong for some reason. Do you know?
I don't have it up right now, but
where would that be? Corsica have it, right?
Yeah, you can go to Corsica and run like a power play and then goals per 60 sort of thing.
All right.
That's probably your best bet. Yeah, without stats, hockey analysis, really nothing goes too quickly anymore, sadly.
That's the problem. I know. It's like trying to have all the stuff right in front of me right now. It's like possible because it's not as obtainable. Yeah, I don't know. Like, do you like 5v4 or would you do 4v5? You 4v5 per team, right? And then do like
against
goals against per 60.
Yep.
And then Edmonton, New Jersey. They are set right in the middle of the road. So just the middle of the road. penalty kill. But
Yeah, and Columbus could not score a power. It was a
yeah, but
5-man power play. So
it's amazing that like their power play was so good last year, and everyone was like, "Oh man, how lucky of them!" And then this year, I mean, same with Buffalo though. Like those were the two top units last year for a while, and then just fell apart. But we can move on to the next game. I think we covered that pretty well.
all right, Rangers at Pittsburgh. I don't think it's new news at this point, but McDonough is back for the Rangers, which obviously helps them out slightly. We saw, as you mentioned, Pittsburgh kind of pour apart the Sabres this weekend, not unexpectedly. So, what are your thoughts on this game? Are you kind of buying like the offensive pace of this game, or are you looking elsewhere? Given that some of these guys are pretty expensive, given where they were
No,
like
I
just a
know.
few days ago.
I mean, this is one of those games where it's like a lot of the numbers are leading me to think like this could be the highest paced game on the slate. Pittsburgh has a ton of offensive upside against the Rangers team that's been, I mean, I don't know. They just they're not very good defensively. I don't know if I'm willing to say how like they're as bad as I thought they were, because I just feel like maybe the tide could be turning back a little bit to where I thought they actually might be this year. But I do think that in GPPs, I think you'd be foolish not to throw a game stack in of this one. And because I think you could find enough cheap Rangers to go along with the Pittsburgh guys that can like really make a game stack interesting. Um, what do you think of that as a potential?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure where I would start with the game stack. Like, I think
Yeah,
Crosby Hornqvist is, probably your like tried and true, like just lock that in. Crosby
yeah,
has multiple points in each of his last 5 games, which is very Sidney Crosby-esque of him. Um, and then with that, Hornqvist is one of the top rate producers shot wise. Of course, his price is kind of ridiculous, but that's just kind of what you are going to put up with if you play Pittsburgh at this point. And going back the other way, I mean, are you looking at like the Zuccarello line? I know Grabner had probably the luckiest luck box of a hat trick of all time the
yep.
other day. Two
No,
empty
I mean,
netters.
I think that Jimmy Vesey might be one of the best values on the slate, getting 18 minutes in power play 2 time at 3-3. Um, the biggest question is how will Pittsburgh match up their lines against the Rangers, because they kind of are like splitting the wealth as far as their top players through 3 lines. So you would assume Buchnevich, Desjardins, and Kreider would take on the Crosby unit.
You did
Um,
it again, Deej.
what?
Desharnais.
Oh my God! Why do I? That doesn't even make any sense. Was that an old player? Did we decide that?
Yeah, yeah, we talked.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've talked
yeah.
about this.
He was an old player, and like I just read his name, and he's the new Perot because I keep getting his name right.
Right.
I have to change it to
Exactly.
someone else. But yeah, I'm just trying to say like I think that line will take on Crosby, and then it's like a toss up for the Malkin line. Will they take on Hayes, VC, Nash, Miller, Zuccarello, Grabner? But I think that if you want to go VC, Nash, and Crosby, Hornqvist, that's a decent way of stacking this game, because I really doubt that those lines face off against each other. And then on defense, you could go with McDonough at 4-4 if you want to correlate that power play, although he hasn't had a shot on goal in the best 3 games. So maybe scratch that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like
Weird
thinking.
stuff
I
happens.
will have a game stack of this in some capacity. And I think that's one way
Yeah.
of looking at it. That almost keeps you right on pace for like your average remaining player salary. Like you really haven't broke the bank with Crosby, Hornqvist, VC, Nash.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
think personally, kind of the main, like, if I go to this Rangers side, I think the 2 centers. I mean, Desharnais is just not a
no,
like a DFS player in my opinion. I mean, he's
yeah.
just
He,
simply
he
not
just
going
had
to
like
do the
what? He
puck.
just had like a backdoor tap in goal last game, right? I'm pretty sure I remember it was like a power
Yeah, I mean,
play. It was
he's
just backdoor.
definitely not going to shoot. So like, that's just someone I have no interest in playing myself. Um, But I'm looking at Kevin Hayes and JT Miller. I think Hayes is a little bit more like of the cash build, given that he blocks a lot of shots and like at least for a forward he does, and plays seems about the same amount of minutes. So like you're not really sacrificing anything. And then JT Miller is someone who's playing with Zuccarello, which I think is the ideal spot to be on
Yeah,
this team. But I mean, there's really no I dig what you're saying about VC. I think that Hayes VC stack could be really a nice way to save some money. And obviously, Rick Nash with them gives you additional upside at a bit more expensive of a price. So I think that's where I would go for the Rangers. I don't have any interest in the defenseman here. With a full boat, like no one's just really getting crazy minutes. So I don't think it's fair to like expect Shattenkirk to put up the same amount of points as someone like Doughty or Weber or Bufflin, just because that's not really the type of player Shattenkirk is. So
yeah, I think the only defenseman in this game that gives you anything is like if you go full Pittsburgh and you want to throw Letang in, but again, it just doesn't feel great. I think Schultz has some sort of maybe like you can consider him for a minute, but his minutes have gone down so much over the past few games that unless if some news breaks that they say that they want to get him more minutes, then I don't know. I mean, Letang's just getting a ton of minutes, but
all right. Let's go to St. Louis at Montreal. Shea Weber came back over the weekend, and the Canadians put up 10 goals on Detroit. Yeah, I don't think they're going to put up 10 goals on St. Louis. Call me crazy. But that said, I mean, we're looking at some pretty strong values here on the Montreal side. Are you willing to overlook like this really tough matchup with St. Louis? Maybe someone like Hudon or even Pacioretty is still like really cheap given where he typically has been in years past, up at the 7,000 mark.
I don't know. This game to me is it's tricky because I just feel like some people might ride like Montreal again. Just I don't know, just kind of as like a recency bias if you just think like, oh man, like how good they were last game. But I don't know. I'm not that interested. I think Hudon's like always a play if you're at that price and you need a guy like I've mentioned countless times. Like he's just a very good DFS build, but I don't think Montreal's as good as that last game indicated. They played Detroit for one thing. And then St. Louis is just really good. Like they just don't give up goals in bunches. I don't know. I'm not that interested in this game, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to. Like I think that Tarasenko is like one guy that I'm considering because his price is down enough and he's just getting so many minutes and so good. But other than that, I don't think this game's that stackable, I guess is what I'm trying to get to.
I don't have much interest here myself. A name that I think you can keep an eye on is Vladimir Sobotka. His last 10 games now, he's averaging 18 minutes of time on ice, and he's putting up some pretty good fantasy numbers. 5 shots, 4 shots, like 3 shots here in his last 5 games. Just someone I think you can rely on and plays a pretty big role in his. We know he's talented, so
he was with Tarasenko and Stastny last game for the majority of the game.
Yeah, so
and on the power play, I mean, if you look at their power plays, I'm just confused, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's simply Tarasenko stays out there for the full 2 minutes if he wants to. So
yeah, so Tarasenko basically was out there the whole time, and so I guess you get exposure to Sobotka, Senko a lot, which is fun. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's a strong option to fill. I mean, a guy under 4K that really helps you out. Like if you wanted to try to get him and Tarasenko in with some of that Pittsburgh love, I think he could do it for you.
Like the only reason that this isn't like a lock for me, because I do love like getting Tarasenko exposure for this cheap, is that I just don't see them straying from the Shen Shorts Tarasenko line. Even if they do confirm it in morning skate, it's the Vodka, Stastny, Tarasenko. Like I just think that the first sign of trouble, like that can change in a heartbeat. Yeah. So that's why I'm not like locking him in, but I think that's a good note. Do you have any interest in Weber, Pietrangelo, like these stud defensemen in this game? I mean, Pietrangelo really cooled off from his beginning of the season.
He's just way too expensive for what he's been doing. And I mean, he's like he would need to have like 8 shot on goal game or like be in the top. I don't even think he's in the top 10 as far as. Let me look quick. Trying to find him on like shots over the past 5 games. I mean, I'm at the search. There's nowhere. He's just not coming up.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, last little bit, he's been pretty invisible.
47th in shot attempts over the past 5 games. Like, come on, that's just does not warrant that price.
Yeah. I think Shea Weber's in the conversation just because we're getting him at one of his lower prices that you're going to see him at. He got hurt, and obviously when he got hurt, his price really dropped. I think he's the sort of guy who can, 3 block shots and 5 shots on goal isn't out of the question for him. And you don't even need, a power play goal or whatever from him. So that's just one area that I think Weber could be a decent play from this game. But in general, I'm looking to fade this game pretty hard. So anything else, or are you ready for Winnipeg at Detroit?
I'm ready. Let's get to it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Detroit just gave up 10 goals to Montreal. Winnipeg is smoking hot right now. Do you have an update on Kyle Connor as he missed Sunday's game against the do you think that he will play on Tuesday?
It sounds, but that was he. Let me. I don't have it up in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he's traveling with the team. I know that, but it was not confirmed. Yeah, it just says he's day to day with a foot injury, but will be on the upcoming road trip. It's basically meaning that he's a game time decision. Maybe we'll get notes from pregame or whatever, but with him out, that did bring up Perreault to the top line last game, and he had 5 shots on goal and a goal and 2 assists, and I didn't play, so yeah,
that was
much of that goodness.
That was about the only thing I did right on Sunday.
Right.
So,
I watched the Browns, so.
Yeah, what's interesting is that he actually didn't feature on the first power play, which, I mean, you would expect with Connor out, like Perreault would go right back to the first power play that he thrived on last year. It actually ended up being Adam Lowry, which is just, like, ridiculous, but, whatever. Winnipeg's going to Winnipeg. But with Connor, if Connor is out again, I have no issue in Perreault at 4.5. I think he's a very, very strong play. I think he's a better DFS player than Kyle Connor is. So, I think Connor kind of equals him, given that Connor, when he plays his first power play. But, like, when you're getting Kyle Connor for 4.5, I think that's someone you'd want to play. So, for me, Matthew Perreault in cash game, should Connor be out, it's just one of those, like, plug-and-play free squares at wing.
Yeah, and he's kind of known, like, sorry.
Yeah, like we've seen him before. He's been with these two guys. He's been really productive, and it kind of took him getting hurt and them kind of trying to, find a new Matthew Perreault in order for him to lose that role. So I think that he's a really, really strong play here.
Yeah.
Should Connor sit?
2 things about Matthew Perreault. He is just a point shy of point per game this season, but you wouldn't know that because he's only played 15 games. He's 4.5. He's going to get a ton of minutes and power play 2 time. And he's kind of known in the analytics community as being a guy that can be a shot producer, just kind of like a good player possession-wise and does all the right things. So it's not like he's randomly being put on the first line. Like, he does have very good upside. So I like him a lot tomorrow. And Detroit is, I mean, I don't know. No. I don't know if you mentioned how many goals they got last game.
10 goals.
Yeah, it was quite a few. But I think that we might. I know I jumped the gun on this, but I think we might be seeing a little resurgence from Laine at 6.5. I don't hate that. Byfuglien, I just keep thinking he's got to score eventually, right? Like, you can't just continue to keep this guy off the score sheet, right? I mean, I think Byfuglien's a strong play. He's 20. He's what? In his past 6 games, he's averaging 6 shots on goal, right? Yeah,
that's what it says.
Not on goal. I mean, shot attempts. Yes. So, he's definitely shooting and trying to score. I mean, we're getting more production out of Byfuglien than Pietrangelo at a lower price. Is what more I'm getting to. I think his upside's there. I just feel like they spread out the minutes a good amount. So I don't know if he's like a GPP lock because I don't know how much explosion upside he has, but I really like him, Laine, and yeah, I really hope that Perreault hits that top unit and Lowry comes off of it, which looks like it did happen at one point last game because that stack is looking like it might happen for me. Get some correlation through multiple lines. I don't know. Call me crazy.
All right, so just wanted to point out one thing. I looked into Martin Burke, maybe Frick. Is that what we decided? Martin Frick.
Yeah,
As last game he played on the first line with Nyquist and Zetterberg. That doesn't look like it's going to hold. So those 16 minutes for 3K for like a super good, that's just not going to happen. He's on the fourth line now with David Booth and Athanasio. So, yeah. I have no interest in any of the Red Wings. So for the 19th consecutive show, fade the Red Wings and make money. So.
And you're positive on that. Is that your final answer?
I feel pretty good about that call.
All right. Well, we can get to the New York Islanders and Tampa Bay Lightning if you're ready to go.
Yeah, Vegas has this game currently on Monday night as a 6 with the over favored. For reference, Rangers at Pittsburgh is a 6 with the under slightly favored. So, like, this is the premier game of the night according to Vegas. I want to say the Islanders lead the NHL in goals scored. That could have changed this weekend, but yeah, they every time they play, it seems to just be a massive shootout. The Islanders are a ton of fun to watch. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of plays here. The first and I think really, really important note is that, especially in like the upper stakes cash games, Tyler Johnson is now centering Stamkos and Domestikov. So Tyler Johnson is, I believe, 3.9 on the slate. Had a huge game last time out. And while I personally, he's 3.8, and I personally think that he's a bit less of like a shot generator than someone that I think is like a must play in cash games. Last time out, he was very high owned and had 9.5 points. He scored twice on 5 shots, which obviously is like a ceiling game for him. But 3.8, you're not looking for that much out of him. So he's probably a top value option despite not having first power play time. And other than that, the Kucherov, he's not on that line anymore. He's playing with Palat and Braden Point. So just a couple of different line stacks to consider if you're stacking this game.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of goodness. I mean, I definitely think Kucherov's in play at 7-7. Like, I know he had 2 goals on 2 shots, but he's kind of that good that he doesn't like. I think he'll be the main shot producer on that line more so. So I think that 2-shot game is a little bit not as normal, but I like him in point a lot because last game it seems like, I mean, Kucherov had 2 goals, so never mind that. But I think a lot of people will be on Johnson Stamkos because Johnson's so cheap that like they'll just jam in that stack and they'll be like, oh, well, that's the one. And then, I mean, Point might not be as much of a shot producer, but you're getting a guy with Kucherov at like a pretty good price. I also think that Hedman is more in play now that they're only dressing 6 defensemen, or at least they did last game. Like, I'm willing to give Hedman
that seems to be
look.
That seems to be what they're going with. So
Hedman definitely consideration in cash and GPPs for me. Like, he hasn't had I think 4 games straight without a point. His price has dropped from 6.3 to 5.9. I mean, he's kind of coming down in that nice zone where I'm like, yeah, let's jam him in there. I think the Sergachev bubble is just, I don't know. I mean, I'm not ready. Like, he's fair. I think he's a fair price. That's what I'd say about Sergachev. Like, he's a fair 4.5, but he's definitely gets a bump in minutes too from the 6 defenseman look. And I don't know. I want that first power play. Like, that first power play is the best first power play in the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I don't Pittsburgh tries, but like they can't do it.
At least not yet. So I think you made a good call on Hedman. Being price sensitive with guys like that, I think is really important. I actually want to transition to the Islander side.
Go for it.
We're not seeing, like, this is definitely an upside only, but we're seeing Ryan Pulock play a regular role at 5-on-5 now, in addition to power play 2 time. He's 2.9 on the slate, which, it's nothing that like is going to blow you away because he simply hasn't been all that productive. But when you're getting, 19 minutes of a guy who we know is an incredible, he has incredible shot from the point, power play time, like, I think this is the matchup that Pulock, if he gets even 1 goal from the point, like he smashes his salary. And so I think he really makes sense as a pure punt defenseman here.
Mhm.
John Tavares, I mean, just this guy is awesome. So,
He does know how to play hockey.
like, I'm trying not to go overboard on this game because I do think that like stacking around Tavares is really, really restrictively expensive now. Like Anders Lee is 6.6. Like imagine someone told you that on opening night, you're like, yeah, you're
There's
on
a
some
lot of
crazy
guys that
pills,
blow
dude.
my mind with their price for sure. Like I look and I'm like, that can't
Yeah,
be accurate. And then I look again, I'm like, well, all right, I guess that's the way she goes. I mean, and he scored again tonight, so
yep.
what are you gonna
All
do?
right. Quick question, DJ. 25 games. How many points does Josh Bailey have on the season?
25 games. How many points does Josh Bailey have? I'll go 13.
He has 30.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. So
I
I
just
mean,
don't
like,
pay attention to guys that wow. Like how?
so like he's
Wait, I
super
know how.
expensive now, but like yeah, he plays with John Tavares now, so
That's
that's
how.
that's kind of what happens. So there's really no new players that you get that sort of exposure with. So it's really tough for me to recommend like playing any of these guys in cash. If you want to stack them, like by all means, go ahead, but just know that probably a bit suboptimal, just
Yeah.
given their super high prices.
That's why I feel like everyone's kind of starting to shift towards the Islanders line two as like a well, like every team must be keying in on line one, so line two should flourish. And I don't know. I've kind of been hit or miss on it. Like I keep considering it and kind of talking myself out of it. But what do you think about like their second power play unit, second line? Do you like Pulak? Let's say we were looking at like Eberly. Boy, well, he
Everly and
doesn't.
Lad. I mean, Lad
Yeah, it's like
is.
that's all you got.
I mean, Lad is not pretty at all, but like he's someone who
I
on
think his
any given
wife would
night.
argue.
I mean,
He has
you
a
got
nice
me
beard.
there. Yeah, it's very nicely manicured in the team photo. But what I meant is that like he's certainly not cash play at all, but he's good enough to the point where like for 3.6, you could definitely stack him with Eberly and just hope that the power play does something or that Barzell like really really nice pass or something. Um, like it's not out of the realm of possibility, and he has the sort of role you're looking for. So if you are running that power play two stack, Lad, Eberly, Pollock. It's actually Pollock, which I don't really like, but I've listened to a lot of Islanders broadcasts and they say Pollock, so I'll have to train myself on that. But I do think that's a very price sensitive way to get exposure to a game that should be high paced and high scoring. So anything else from this game before we head to Nashville at Dallas?
No, no. I think that honestly, like looking at this game, like it's kind of we just were like, yeah, all the good players are good, and this is a good game, and this is one that like I think it's worthy of breaking the bank on, and there's a lot of punts. Like there's a couple there's one inside of this game, and there's others outside of this game that you can fit in that do have upside. So I think it's doable to get like Kucherov, and you know what, honestly, like Kucherov, Stamkos, like you can still do it. I know it's really expensive, but no one's gonna do it. I mean, not. I mean, there'll be someone, but you know what I mean. They still
Yeah,
call it on the power play. Like that power play gets 2 goals tomorrow, and you have both of them, and they just both do all the scoring. No one's gonna do it. Consider it.
I don't think you're crazy by doing
No,
that.
I am a Sabres fan,
So
so
I mean, you are crazy for that, but all right. So Nashville at Dallas. The main news here is that Ryan Johansson missed on Monday night due to, I believe, an illness. Right.
that's
Anyways.
no. He got injured last game. Like he came out at one
Oh,
point
right,
during
right.
last
Yeah,
game,
yeah. He left.
and
Yeah. Okay.
then
Okay.
yeah, and I have not seen anything confirming
Yeah,
what
he
it
was
was.
day to day.
But
So
upper with upper body injury, so anything above his waist could be hurt.
yeah, I mean that is factual.
That's how NHL injuries work.
That is how upper body classification works. So,
Mm.
uh, what happened as a result of this is they really split. I mean, obviously, the Johansson Forsberg Arvidsson line was no longer a thing, but they actually split up Forsberg and Arvidsson. So,
Yes.
that's kind of interesting. Line, I mean, that's been absolutely smashing. Again, smashed on Monday night is Turris, Fiala, Craig Smith. They're all at reasonable salaries. I think that if you're looking to play this game, that's the top line from it, just given that they're all so cheap, that their possession numbers are outstanding, and they play together at 5-on-5, and haven't seen how the power play is going to shake out. I would guess they're together on the power play tonight, but, take a look at that on Tuesday morning to see if that came to fruition. Craig Smith had 2 goals, and I think, he's such a constant producer. Even if Johansson plays, Craig Smith was on that first power play with Subban, Johansson, Forsberg, Arvidsson. So I think Craig Smith is just a really solid value play. You're really kind of riding him in a hot stretch where he hasn't been priced up too ridiculously yet. And Dallas is obviously a good matchup. So,
Yeah.
I think that's
Dallas
the main play.
absolutely exploded against Colorado. If you didn't have that line 1, line 4 stack, which you should have had, it's just crazy. I mean, that line 1, like Sagan, Radulov, Ben, it's kind of one that I feel like if you make a lot of lineups, you should always have because it just every net has a chance to explode. But what do you think about them against Nashville, against this good defense?
Yeah, I mean the back-to-back helps for sure. I'm just not a big fan of playing Ben or Radulov. Like I'm always, if I play Sagan, it's almost exclusively as a one-off play. Like I never really like spending up for those two just because Sagan is so puck dominant, like as a shooter. And I just never really seem to want to prioritize getting Stars exposure into my lineups. Obviously, they're fairly strong DPP plays. But like Ben and Radulov are just so passive when like they're not putting up assist numbers. Like they're just not going to get you huge scores.
Mm-hmm.
So, like obviously anything could happen, but like at their prices, I'm just more than willing to kind of look elsewhere for my high price stacks. With that said, I mean, like you mentioned, Nashville's really, really strong defensively. So we'll see if them on like maybe if you think ownership's gonna be pretty low on them, just jamming in 30% of this line like could definitely pay off, given that it is a back to back and that the line is simply incredible offensively. But as I mentioned, I think my top line from this game is going right back to that Turris, Fiala, Craig Smith well, until their salary matches their production.
Yeah, that's fine. Is there anything else from this game? I don't know. This game just doesn't really rate that high for me, I feel like. I mean, it's all right. I mean, you got a team on a back-to-back, and, like, I'm considering Dallas, but I feel like it's I can never land on anyone off this top line. It's just hard for me. I know Fasca's been hot, but don't think that's something I want to ride. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, I look at this, and I'm like, well, where do I go if I don't go top line? I mean, like, Honka's getting 14 minutes. But,
yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Like he was back. Spezza was back on the first power play last game.
Yeah, that's
so
about it.
Him, I mean, he's not safe, but he's now at center for 3.6. I don't think that's crazy at all.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna look while you do this. His shot numbers.
Yeah, I mean they're not great, but like Spezza is a player historically that we know is going to at least somewhat shoot the puck. So if he gets the puck on the power play, as example, like he's gonna shoot. Like I don't think that's that's.
He is the exact same. I'm going to name a few players that have the exact same numbers over the past 5 games. Leon Draisaitl. So, that sounds good. But same with Blake Coleman of New Jersey. Same with Travis Zajac of New Jersey, who never shoots. Dan Girardi has the same amount of shot attempts.
Oh.
Sven Barchi. Pierre-Luc Dubois. I mean, if Pierre-Luc Dubois was at this price, that one I stumbled over.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like we consider him a lot more because he's getting that power play, like those minutes. So he's just in this range of like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, do I almost have to maybe consider him. Wait, hold on. This can't be right. This doesn't at the same shot rates as Stamkos over the past 5 games. Stamkos has not shot the puck that much over the past 5 games.
The sneaky secret is that Kucherov has really been the sniper for that team.
It's so just Stamkos. Do you think he gets a bump being on this line, or do you think? I mean, do you think they're going to try to like Johnson could be the shot producer now with Stamkos still trying to feed
Um,
him? Like what do you think
I'm not.
about? I know we're going back now
I
to the game, but
yeah. I don't really. I mean, I'm not really interested in that Stamkos Johnson line, anyways. But I don't really
yeah,
think
it's
reading
fair.
too much into that is like something that you should be doing.
Okay, but
Um,
we can move on. I'm sorry. I know we're jumping back, but I thought that was an interesting note that Stamkos and Spets had the same kind of shot attempts for the past 5 games. Like, whoa,
yeah, I
that's
mean,
not what it should be.
and obviously it points to the main flaw of looking at that last 10 games that it is a really small sample. So, it's important to
Mm,
kind of contextualize it and to, past performance, like historical performance data to kind of back up your findings here. So
yeah,
let's
true.
move on to Buffalo at Colorado. Um,
Nope.
I think the really, really important thing here to note is that Gabriel Landeskog is out for one more game. He got a 4-game suspension. This will be the 4th game of it. JT Comfort is playing an incredible amount of minutes on the first power play, first line alongside Nate McKinnon. I mean, we were familiar with Comfort a little bit from his time with the Sabres in their farm system. He's just a really solid two-way player, and he's really thriving with the Avalanche. I mean, last game he played 22 minutes. Like, he's gonna see a ton of ice time against one, a really really bad team in Buffalo, and
Are you
two,
sure?
like a team that obviously like narrative alert, but like he could want like revenge. I don't know, but like
I don't know.
he's I just think he's gonna go criminally underlooked for the role and for the just overall like talent for price that he has. Um, Over his last 10 games, he has 34 shots with blocks at 3.5 per game. Almost that alone gets you value. And now you have to factor in that last couple games he's been on this first line, first power play unit. So I think that only goes upwards.
Yeah, I mean that's all around agree. Like I think he's a solid play. I don't his kind of prospect pedigree was that he was like a great leader and like a captain at Michigan at like a sophomore and like I don't remember anyone ever talking about like what he might produce as like a shot producer in the NHL. So I think that we're finally starting to see that like maybe there's more that meets the eye with him. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing how he does on this role, although it might be lost after this game. The Sabres, on the other hand, but there, well, I guess we probably should just jump ship. Yeah, I mean, McKinnon, I think, won NHL's #1 star over the past month. Like, he's been red hot. Like, would that be the stack you go with, the
I,
McKinnon Comfer, or?
I mean, I love, 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 love Nathan McKinnon.
Same.
6.7 though just just feels kind of crazy to me. Like I don't know. Like I'm probably going to talk myself into a knot here, but like when you're on such a bad team and like, I mean, it is the Sabres, so anything can happen for sure. Um, so I think yes, that is the stack you would want to go with. I don't think you can do like Comfort and Rantanen without playing McKinnon. Like I just think that's throwing away upside because if they do well, McKinnon's going to be involved. So um, with that said, I think that especially guys like Rantanen and Barry are just a touch bit expensive for me. Um, but I definitely have no problems playing any of them. But I think Comfort is like your prototypical like cash value lock sort of play given his role and his DFS production this season and just his overall price projection combination.
Yeah. So on the Buffalo side, the big news of the day for Sabres fans was that Matt Molson was waived. They traded for Scott
You
Wilson.
are, yeah. I mean that's the big news there.
Oh, well, they're
Scott
both the big
Wilson.
news of the day. I think both of them. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. I mean, I'm expecting him not to do that much, but I mean, he'll be on the team. Um,
that he
Hopefully,
will.
Jordan Nolan's off of it. So Beaulieu
Nope.
also was hurt. Oh, what?
I saw. I think Beaulieu is traveling with the
Yeah,
team to
he was
their.
hurt in the last game though. Yeah. So who knows?
Okay, so he's okay. As of today, they were saying he was unlikely to travel. I'm not sure if I saw something tonight, or if I was just conflating that with something else I read. Anyways, I really, really, really don't think it matters.
No.
Only
Wait,
guy. Oh, go ahead.
Wait,
Carry on.
we were probably going to the same spot here.
Yep.
Were you going to Bogosian?
I actually wasn't. I was just going right to Risto, but
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, Risto and Bogosian. So last game, this is subject to change. Reinhardt, Eichel, Kane, Scandella, and Bogosian was one power play unit. So Bogosian at 2.9. I think his minutes will keep increasing as he gets healthier. Like he was hurt for the first 21 games or 22 games. He's only been back for like 2 now, I think. So his minutes, I mean, actually they went down from game to game, but granted, like
yeah, well,
he'll
last game had
like,
killed a ton of penalties, so that kind of factored in.
Yeah, so Bogosian, I think there's a decent chance that he'll bump up back up to like 20, 22 minutes at 2.9, like pure punt defenseman. I know he's kind of like, who was the other one we had as 2.9? How do you say his name? It's not Pulak, it's like Pulak. Pollock.
Yeah.
So those two at 2.9 are kind of like your pure punts. Other than that, in the Sabres, like the only thing I could say in this game is like if you want to just ride a narrative. First off, Ristolainen is a great play. Just like that is an absolutely great play for cash game lineups. But if you want to just write a narrative that Matt Moulson getting sent down, kind of like a team leader, everyone loved the guy, could be a wake-up call for this team against Colorado, who definitely can give up goals in bunches, and you just want to stack Eichel, Kane, and Risto or something. I mean, yeah, it's more of like it's a bold GPP take, but we're talking about guys that are really not move that much in price, and no one is going to take them because they have done nothing, and this team's a dumpster fire. But they definitely have upside. Like that Eichel, Kane, Risto stack has upside there. Like that could end up doing something, but who knows? That's like a bold call.
Yeah, JT Compher, just play him and no one else. Carolina at Vancouver. Are you ready to move there?
Sure.
All right, I'm sorry. I just cannot talk about the Sabres for much longer, or I'm just going to jump off a cliff. Yeah, it seems like Carolina's been on the slate every time we've had a podcast lately. I will say the same thing that I've gone back to over and over again. Jeff Skinner is incredible. You can get really good exposure around him for really cheap. And I think that makes him the preferable play over that Aho, Teravainen, Stahl, like that group. They're just all up in the mid to high 5s and 6s. Like, it's just not really something I'm comfortable spending that much for. But Skinner and Ryan in particular, Derek Ryan, I should say, his center on both even strength and power play, they combined to be only 10,000, like between the two of them. So I think that's a really, really strong play. Jeff Skinner is a really good catch play at 6.3 as well. Anyone else from Carolina really pique your interest?
Skinner was my main guy. Absolutely. Cool. I don't know. They just been really spreading their minutes around. Like they're not, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are going to pile on Carolina, traveling all the way to Vancouver. And I'm more of selling on this game when everyone's going to buy on it. I think Skinner is a fine play, though. As more of a one-off for me. But I'm not betting on this game. Like, I think there will be pace there and stuff, and, like, there's guys worth taking. But I just more feel like this will be a sluggish game in the end, like, as far as the scoring goes. Which is just
I think the math from, I think like if you look at like projection systems, I don't actually have any up right now, but I think they would point you towards that Justin Falk, Rasmus Ristolainen, Alex Edler, that triumvirate here, 2.6 for each Risto and Falk, and then 4.5 for Alex Edler. Are you leaning a specific way between those three? Obviously, Edler on the other end of this Carolina game.
Risto.
Risto for you?
Yeah, I mean, he is what? First? Yeah, number 1 in shot attempts over the past 5 games in the NHL. By like a decent number. I mean, I'm not even sure what it's insane. Like I'm watching the Sabres as much as I do. Like I just notice he is shooting from absolutely everywhere right now. 43 shot attempts over 5 games. I mean, yeah, he is.
I don't hate that.
He's a fine catch play. He's just too cheap for that production.
Yeah, I definitely agree that he is too cheap. I don't think you're crazy to play even two of these guys in cash games. With you just
Hmm.
don't need to spend up for elite production from defense. We've seen that over and over again. Kind of to segue into the Vancouver side of this game, Alex Edler is someone that I just freaking love from a daily fantasy perspective.
I know.
Like
I feel
he's
like you
out there
mentioned
in
him every
all of
podcast too.
yeah, like he's just out there in all the big minutes. He's never going to be on the bench in a crucial situation. Um, he has 50 shots plus blocks over his last 10 games, and he's putting up points too. Like he's everything you want in a daily fantasy defenseman. And while his team is not excellent, I think a matchup of Carolina plays at a really elevated 5-on-5 pace really helps him in terms of like his block shot floor. I mean, we've seen him put up 5, 6 block shots before. I think this is a night where he could do that again. And I think he's my preferred player here in like the 4.5 range. But like you said, Bristow's a fine play. I think Justin Falk is a good floor play as well. Like you can't really go wrong here.
Yeah, no, I definitely like in cash games going Edler and Risto or Falk. Definitely that's sharp. That is sharp, Matt. I like the way you think because their price is down because they're not scoring, but they are producing. Like the goals
Mhm.
can come, so I like that. Anaheim, Vegas. There's a couple news and notes here.
Yeah, Ricky Rack looks to be back for Anaheim. Nothing's confirmed, but he's practicing again, and they sent down Kaya Casilla. So
Whatever you say.
that that just kind of when they send a guy down who otherwise would probably play like a third line role for them, you would just expect that to fit Raquel back under the cap. He's going to play, so it's not confirmed, but that really helps out this team in general, just because Raquel is so dynamic.
Mm,
Um, I mean, DJ 5.7 against Vegas. Like last
yeah,
time we saw
that's
Raquel, he was up at the 7,000 mark. Like, are you buying even if he's
yes.
kind of like, he might take a bit to get reintegrated back after missing a couple weeks. Like, where do you stand on that and how it impacts Anaheim as a whole here?
Buying. No, yeah, buying. I buy. I think Raquel is like an elite
Music
player.
to my ears.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I say elite player. I think he's an elite DFS player. Been banged up by injury, but this whole team's been banged up by injuries. And Vegas at home, like by far the highest PDO of any home team in the NHL. I think that it's a bubble worth thinking could burst. Montour is just back down at that beautiful price range that makes absolutely no sense. Like, I mean, like 3.9 for Montour too. Like, it's nuts. It's nuts. This game just doesn't make sense. Like, when you just go to DraftKings and just click on the Anaheim Vegas game, like look through the player pool. I'm like, just look at William Karlsson and Marchessault being the top like expensive players on center and wing respectively, and then like think about Ricky Vax just like being
Like,
like
hey guys, what's up?
he's cheaper than Neil and Marchessault. And the thing is like I'm starting to kind of join the Marchessault bandwagon a little bit. Like he has some merit some nights, but I don't know. Like I'm not paying the price for him right now, and I think the Raquel Montour stack, which I'm sure we've mentioned countless times, is that could be a play. That could be a play worth considering.
Yeah. So you don't need to pull my arm to get me interested in Mr. Brandon Montour. Just something that I think is really really uh, relevant to daily fantasy is looking at the power play usages by player. So if you go to hockeyviz.com, we talk about it regularly. I don't actually know if it's a premium tool or not. I'm not sure, DJ, if you're a subscriber to it, anyways.
Mm,
But you can look at shot charts on the power play, and so essentially I can click on it and say, hey, Brandon Montour, this season he takes X percentage of the shots, and it kind of shows like a shot map of where he shoots from. Season, he's taken 33% of his team's like shots on the power play. If you look at someone like Ovechkin, he's in like the 35% range, and Washington's trying to get the puck to Ovi to use his one timer. Like that is how they're using Brandon Montour here. Like they traded away Vatten in the clear room for him to kind of jump up in minutes. 20 minutes out of a guy who's 3.9, like, and gonna take a ton of shots on the power play. I just don't see why you would not play him. I don't think he's a lock by any means, given that there are a ton of options. But like, Montour is super talented. I've said it over and over and over again. But I just really love the way he's being used. His production's been outstanding. So I have no reason to kind of like jump off of him.
Yeah, I think my last note it would be that probably Vermette comes off that first power play with Ricky Rack's back, and that really boosts that power play overall. And on top of that, their power play too is absolutely inept. So they're not going to try to give them even like they're going to try to give them the minimum amount of minutes. And Vegas will take penalties. Their defense is just not good enough to keep up with some of these better players on Anaheim. And then on the Vegas side, though, I think Shea Theodore is a strong play as well. I mean, he got 21 minutes last game, and they didn't get a single power play, which means that they actually are realizing how good he is. And, I mean, you can write a narrative of Anaheim traded him or whatever, but I really think it's more of the Shea Theodore is really good, and he will be getting power play time next game, I'm assuming, barring they take one. Yeah.
All right. So my last thing here, Silfverberg is confirmed out for Tuesday night, and we're looking at a line of Raquel, Adam Henrique, and Corey Perry. I would imagine that'll be the first power play unit as well.
Yes.
And I really like Adam Henrique at 4.2. He's shown up and he's been like playing a ton of minutes now. Before he got traded, he was like 5 shot attempts per game for the Devils. I don't think he's been he has 3 shots over his 2 games with Anaheim, but I think that's a more than reasonable price for a guy who's going to play 20 minutes and get to some additional upside with like that Raquel Montour power play stack. Because like you said, I think it's I nothing confirmed, but I think Henrique will manage his way onto this first power play here.
Yeah, I'm so sold that I'm actually like I'm just I can't stop being more sold. Like I think you could definitely get. All right. I mean, never mind. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna cut myself off there. Like that's well. First off, you just want that first line, and I don't think there's a line on Vegas that's gonna like slow the pace and control possession away from that line at all. So there's no risk. Okay.
All right. Minnesota at LA. This game is kind of a snoozer to me. I love Minnesota, but at on the road in LA, I just don't really think it's worth taking that chance.
No big notes from today. I don't think either team had a practice that I saw. So really this game doesn't have much for me to mention in general. Is it the lowest paced game on this? No, it's second lowest to Colorado Buffalo. So
something worth noting is that with Spurgeon out, Matt Dumba has slid up alongside Ryan Suter, and in 2 games now, he has 6 fantasy points in both of those games. So I don't know what they'll do to his ownership. Like he's not someone who's regularly highly owned, but if you see people start writing him up because he's in a good role on a pretty good team, in my opinion, like you could see some increased ownership. But I do think he is my top play from this game, and really the only guy I'm even considering like playing.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up for me too. Like just no real interest from me. We could use some stacks. I'm going to double check to see if anyone commented on the iTunes. I checked Stitcher the other day. We had exactly 0 comments and error likes. So thanks everyone for all of those. That was very nice of you to give us those kind words. Let me look. Morningscape Bob. One stack that I'm just going to take off the top would be Kucherov, Point, Hedman, or Nick's Point, and do whatever you want. I don't know. Put in Johnson. Who cares?
Fancy. All right. So let's see. I feel like I spent a lot of today poo-pooing a lot of stacks. So all right.
Oh yeah, no comments by the way.
No comments. All right. Man. All right. Give me Turris, Fiala, Smith. I don't care that it's back to back. Like they're just really good.
Wait, you said Turris and Fiala Smith?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I just honestly thought you combined the 2 names, and I was like, what is? Oh, then it came back to me. All right. Man, sorry, I'm more of building a lineup right now, but then I found a stack I like. All right. I feel like I got to go cheap, right? feel like my mine is not cheap.
I mean, just take one because I think I have some cheaper stacks that I like. So
Well,
if you take
can
the
I
expensive
take
ones.
can I take the Henrique Montour Raquel? That's like
Oh,
middle
man.
range. That's what you
All right.
wanted. We can
I mean,
both take
no.
it. Like we
Yeah,
can
I mean,
both take it and
just-
then do one more. That's more like the cheap one I wanted, but I kind of assumed you wanted it too, so I didn't
feel
want
like
to say it. But that's what
I
I
feel
want.
like
So.
I have the creative like license on everything having to do with the Anaheim Ducks. So
What about I can go
I'll
Winnipeg. I was trying to go Winnipeg, but it's not cheap. Like I wanted to go
that's
Perot
fine.
with. I was gonna go like
Fine
Perot
though, because
Line because
if you
I
add
feel
in
like
Bufflin, I mean that's very much mid tier in my opinion.
all right. Then if you want that one, I could
Something like
take. I
that.
was gonna take Perot Line and Bufflin as
All
like a getting correlation to two stacks, but I think
All
like you could get a lot of shot volume from Perot. Blah blah blah. Hopefully the power play correlates, etc.
Right. Yep. All right. So I think that makes perfect sense. Um. You know, I really don't have that many super high price stacks that I like. I think that I'm more interested in like one-off plays like Sagan and even like Tarasenko, like just not full stacking. I think another stack that I really like is that Carolina stack of Skinner, Ryan, and then you can go Noah Hannafin or you can go Dustin Falk, given that Falk has good exposure at 5-5 to Skinner as well, and is cheap enough to the point where getting both power plays covered never a bad idea. But very much so that Skinner Ryan stack I like a lot. So,
Okay, that's a lot. I mean, you just said you hated every stack, and then you're like, wait, hold on. There's like 20 stacks I like. Give me 1 second. But yeah, no,
no,
definitely.
they're all cheap. But they're all cheap though. Like all the
Okay.
high price guys, I think I'm poking holes in kind of.
All right, I just made a lineup that I really like for GPP, but I'm not going to read it because that'd be roster sharing, and that's against the law. Okay.
Yeah.
So guaranteed goals. Would you like to do the honors of anything, or
You go first if you have it.
I'll take Perot, my boy. I know how to say his name now, so I'm gonna say it all night long.
Nice. You got to do it. Do you have a high price ready to go? I was kind of sleeping here.
No, I mean I don't, but I mean I have 6.5, so there's a lot of goodness here, and well 6.5 would be 11. All right, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you pick. I'm gonna give you 3 players to pick from for me. Are you ready for this?
All right.
This will be
I'm
fun.
gonna go Jeff Skinner. So hit me with what you got.
All right. Would you pick Hornqvist, Pacioretty? I think you mentioned him, or well, Skinner would be there. Who was another guy? I feel like Panarin. Panarin, sure. Why not?
I think Hornqvist is pretty smart.
Yeah, that's kind of who I was leaning towards. So good.
He's just such a steady, like high upside, high floor player.
I like
regardless
him
of his
a
price.
lot.
So
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'll go Hornqvist and Perot. And you said you were going to go with Skinner. And did you say your second one?
I did not, as of right now.
So you have a
Going
5K.
to like the 5K range.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah, it's not. You know what, Craig Smith. Just do
There
it.
you go.
Craig Smith.
There you go.
Well, not
Ride
gonna
that hot streak. Chase
Yes.
those points.
Not gonna guarantee 2 goals from him, but I think 1 goal is well within the range of
If
possibilities.
you're not chasing them points, then you're not doing it right. Okay. Anything else from you on your front? I mean, I kind of already gave my life story at the beginning of the pod.
No, I think everything's all good in the hood here. So
basically, follow us on Twitter because I will be taking breaks, even though I'll be studying, to retweet everything because my favorite thing to do on my breaks. More at Morningscape Pod. The website still there, morningscapepod.com. It exists. The sim is on it. It lives there. It loves it there.
it does.
What else do we got going on? Do we have anything going on? I mean, we're trying to plan guests for like the winter break. That could be fun.
Yeah, that should be fun. Like I said, I think if you're out for like Tuesday slate next week, I can definitely pull some strings. Get some friends of mine on show that also are very smart about fantasy hockey, so that could be exciting.
I knew what I wanted to mention. I do know what I wanted to mention. Want me to just go?
What is it?
Okay, so in the group meet, we started a league for the Morningscape podcast.
Yep.
This is something that will run every month. So in December, we started one. Can they still get in on it? Are we just gonna like probably not? I think it'd be too late to catch up.
I
Probably.
mean, no, I mean, if
Well,
you
are
want
we
to
doing it?
try, like,
We're
you can
just doing
definitely
it
go
by.
ahead.
How are we doing it by wins, or are we like combining
Yeah,
all three places?
I think
So
we're
like,
just doing it by wins, like the most
okay,
wins,
yeah,
because that's
yeah.
really the easiest, and I
We'll
think it's
talk
the
about it in the group meet to confirm the rules, but right now it seems like the most wins or losses. So if you come in last place, that's like one negative, and you come in first place, that's one positive. And at the end of the month, we're gonna have one of our lovely group meet members on the podcast to discuss the slate with us, hang out, do the podcast, and then we're gonna have another one on to record themselves singing a song of the group meet's choice. Correct? The loser.
yeah, that's how it'll go. So if you want in, you have to be a part of the group me, and it's
Yeah, that's the
fun.
main thing.
Really good people in there. So even when DJ and I are busy, there's people in the group me going like, hey, like you see this.
Yeah,
So like
all the news is going
even
around. All the profits are being shared. Well, not they're not being shared. All the profits are being like they're sharing the profits as far as like they're sharing what they won. They're not.
yeah, and like
We're not
I mean
profit
the
sharing.
relative information, like
Yeah,
information, like that's
yeah,
important too.
yeah.
So
We're sharing
yeah,
in the profiting.
yes, good
That's how
point.
I want to put it. Okay.
Um, that's about it. So
DM us
yeah,
on
I think
Twitter to get in that group me. BP
yes,
Dubs.
good call. And all right, so be sure to check out the website, our Twitter, obviously, and from Doug, from DJ, from myself. Have a good slate, everybody, and we will see ya.